situation sticky. Houdini get tricky. I hope God really forgive me, I pray. Jesus come and get me. I pray the ones that say they're really with me and really with me. And if they not, I pray whatever they do it quickly. Like Jay Garrett, Barry Allen, Wally West. If this the way it is, just know I always gave my best. I tried to make an A, but my tango E, that's my flesh. I could go on and on and on, but I digress. All I know is I've been sowing, so I really can't complain. How you gonna ask God to grow it, then get mad when it rains? That's why I keep the same vibe, even when I'm in a wreck. Long as I keep waking up, long as I keep waking up. I finally realize I'm not lonely, I'm just members only. I'm real selective of who I vibe with and who I call my homies. I'm not impressed with love and life is sweet, Zach and Cody. I'm way more impressed with a hater who's not scared to show me. Good head on his shoulders, he in school, he got some sense. But he way too impatient, tired of waiting, he wanna be rich. Lil' brother think the answer is a blick or something he can flip. Don't even have a lawyer's line saved, lil' brother didn't read the script. I'm trying to lead by example, I'm trying to refine the answers. Babies being raised by babies, prices going up on Pampers. Food they feed is full of cancer, outside is real Jurassic. The weather's clouded, but I got a million chances. All I know is I've been sowing, so I really can't complain. How you gonna ask God to grow it, then get mad when it rains? That's why I keep the same vibe, even when I'm in a wreck. Long as I keep waking up, long as I keep waking up.
Yo, what's good? What's good? What is good, everybody? How are y'all doing on this fine Thursday evening? I hope y'all are doing blessed. Today we're gonna do something a little different. It's good to gain knowledge, but as I was talking with a good friend of mine earlier, they made a good point, and which they talked about what I was doing. It's like we need to learn the application of the word. Sometimes we do. It is true. We just want to gain knowledge, and the application sometimes goes out the window, and that's really kind of been the focus of the whole thing I've been doing on my channel is the application of things, correcting things within your soul. It's all about getting yourself correct, getting yourself right. I know everybody likes it when we go into the esoteric stuff, but knowing the esoteric don't mean nothing if you got rotten fruit in your spirit and in your soul. So I call it Q&A because that's just what they normally call it. I got to find a better name for it because it's not going to be really more of a Q&A. I want to have a conversation with folks. I'm going to put a link out there. I'm going to only allow, we can all, multiple people can come up, but I'm only going to let one person at a time, come in just to keep order and stuff like that. And I just want to see if you have any questions or anything that you have for the things that I've been talking about over the past, or things that, like, if my study for the Blue Letter Bible and things like that have led you down any rabbit holes and you just have some questions in your search and stuff like that, I want to help you apply what I have been bringing forth out here to kind of help you get that to the next level, and really the kind of help you get more in that mindset of doing things. I'm not sitting here trying to brag and nothing like that, so please don't take it this way. I'm just making a statement because I have been doing this for so long, from doing it from a young age. It becomes like a habit to me, and I want to help you develop those habits so that way it becomes second nature. So that is the main reason. That was really one of the main reasons why I even do this. Why the Most High really put it on my heart for this, because I really get annoyed at just bad doctrine, and it's annoying. And unfortunately, we have been taught religion and nonsense all our life, and it's a work and struggle of reprogramming your brain and reprogramming your mind out of religion. So I want to be, just to help out. That's all that is. So it's if you come up and it's a lot of corrections and stuff going on, don't feel no type of way. That's why I want to put that out there. Nobody feel no type of way. We are all ignorant. I once said on my channel, and I think I said it when I was on Teo one time talking about Peleg, and I was like, oh, his name was when the world was divided, and it was because it was when Pangea came and it spread apart. And that was an error on my part, because I was taking knowledge that was given to me by Amorites, then applying it to the word instead of letting the word speak for itself. And when I read that same account in Jasher, and I saw that it wasn't for the land spreading apart, quote unquote, it was more so because Noah split the land amongst his sons so they wouldn't fight. So he gave all of them a fief that they would go and take care of with them and their descendants and whatnot. So that's what that meant. So it's not an error, and it's not wrong in being it's not a detriment to be wrong. You know, in America, our education system teaches us that if you get something wrong, you get big red X's, and it's like, ah, and that's really not the way you raise up an intellectual thinker. An intellectual thinker is going to make mistakes on the way to coming to the right conclusion. You don't slap them for making the wrong mistake. You just help guide them and help guide their thought process. And that's where we have been trained by this prison system we call school. Because if you really look at schools and you look at prisons, I mean, you use the same buses, we eat off the same trays, we sit in buildings and we have to ask when to go to the bathroom. We're told when to go here, we're told when to go that. We're told when we have yard time, aka time to go to lunch or go outside and go to the gym and all that kind of stuff. Like, we've been indoctrinated as a slave mind. So it takes a lot of effort to come up out of that slave mind. So I'm here to help with that. So what I'm going to do, let me go ahead and put this out here. And like I said, I am and no, now this isn't for folks to come up and preach. I'm going to say that right now. If you start preaching, I will cut you off. If you get on some nonsense, I will cut you off. Please stay on task. We have an orderly thing here. You know, I understand everybody has things that they want to deliver, but talk about the thing that you have been studying. Give us the scripture that you've been talking about and just say, hey, you know, I have a question on this or a question on that. Or if you have a question about anything that's been done, and, you know, we talked about on this channel, you know, for a while, you know, talking about the soul, talking about, you know, there's so much stuff that, you know, we've gone over. So anything on that, I put that out there so y'all can come up and jump on there. What I will do, though, in the meantime and in between time is share something I found with y'all real quick here. Let me, actually, I'll just put myself like that. And then let's just zoom this in. So you go and like I put the link out there. I think I pinned it. So if you if I see you come in, you know, I'll bring you up. But I'm gonna read this right quick here because I like to give our people some good motivation because we be living in some raggedy times. So this is in the book of Enoch here. And I'm going to read Enoch chapter 9, verse 1. And Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed upon the earth, and all lawlessness being wrought upon the earth. And they said to one another, the earth made without inhabitant cries, the voice of their crying up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the Holy One of heaven, the souls of men make their suit, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God of the ages, the throne of thy glory standeth in all generations of the ages, and thy name and thy holy and glorious, and be blessed unto all the ages. Thou hast made all things and power over, and thou hast made all things and have done. Oh, I'm sorry, I screwed up here. Thou hast made all things, and power over all things hast thou. And all things are naked and open in thy sight, and thou seest all things, and nothing can hide itself from thee. Thou seest what Azazel hath done, who hath taught all unrighteousness on earth, and have revealed the eternal secrets which were preserved in heaven, which men were striving to learn. And Semyaza, to whom thou hast given authority to bear rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men upon earth, and slept with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have borne giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying and making their suit to the gates of heaven. And their lamentations have ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are wrought on the earth. Now, I'm going to stop right there. So basically, the key thing here is the angels came down, we all know, but then there was a reaction from the men and all the humans on earth. They were crying out. They were being tore down by and oppressed by the Nephilim, and they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, you know, even though they show us elves and cat girls and you know, they show these little friendly talking animals and stuff, these things are disgusting creatures. These things preyed on us as humans. I truly believe that the reason why we have what we call the uncanny valley that makes us feel uncomfortable around things that look almost human but aren't really human, I believe that's a memory in our blood from our ancient times, from when they were building these robots and building these creatures and had these shapeshifters and all these monsters that they were creating and committing miscegenation with the DNA. And these things preyed on humanity. And there was a real fear that was brought into humanity. We know that from when we see with Lot. When Lot was released from the from well, not released when he was saved from Sodom and Gomorrah. He was initially set to go to the mountains, but he didn't want to go up to those mountains because he was like, nah, there's something crazy up there. I don't want to go up there. I'm not dealing with that because there's monsters up there, and let me just go to this other city down there, because he knew that in that mountain were giants and stuff, and ain't nothing good happen to humans. So we have a knowledge of these things, that I believe that's where that uncanny valley, that uncomfortableness that we feel around some of these things comes from, because it's like deep within our soul, the memory of all the nonsense that came upon the earth is still there. So what happened was humans started to cry out, and as we cried out, that's when the Most High stood up, and that's what you see in chapter 10 when he put the angels into action and told them, okay, now we finna start doing some stuff. It was after the oppression came, they cried out. And that's been the key to all of this. So we're going to go over here now to Exodus. And we all know about Exodus and what happened to us here. And we see the same thing that happened in Exodus 2:23. Now, after a long time, the king of Egypt came to his end, and the children of Israel were crying in their grief under the weight of their work. And their cry for help came to the ears of the Most High. And at the sound of their weeping, the agreement which Yahuwah had made with Abraham and Isaac and Jacob came to his mind. And Yah's eyes were turned to the children of Israel, and he gave them knowledge of himself. So that should sound real familiar, because that's what we got going on right now. That's what was real familiar about what's going on right now, is that we're crying out like, what's going on? What's happening? And now the Most High is turning to us, because this is where we're getting knowledge of him. Now we're starting to learn, oh, the dates and times y'all told us is wrong. Oh, the way y'all taught us the Bible is wrong. Oh, everything about history is wrong. Like, we're starting to get knowledge of Yah. He's bringing us back into ourselves. So the Most High hears y'all. That's what I want to say. My first quick intro before I bring anybody up or anything. That's the intro of it all, is that we got to cry out. We got to cry out the Most High Yah, and we have a right to cry out for injustice that's been committed to us for years now. And the Most High is hearing us, and he's turning to us, which is why he's giving us knowledge of himself. So just keep it, don't. I know it seems crazy, it seems dreary, everything seems not nonsensical, but as the knowledge of the Hebrews is increasing, it's letting us know that the Most High is hearing us, and he's turned to us, and he's giving us that knowledge of himself that's going on. So what I want to do now is, if anybody want to come up and come through, I put the link out there. It's pinned. So you can go ahead and give that link a click, and then we can go up from there. That was just a little quick blurb that I wanted to share with my brothers and sisters. I don't see nobody had jumped up yet, but that is my plan for today. So y'all don't, oh, my bad. Did not mean to do that. So y'all don't shy away from nothing. There's okay, like I said, if there, no question is dumb, no question. I know some folks, oh, I may not be like this or that. Don't worry about none of that. None of that, because everybody's ignorant. We all learning together. It's a collective thing to learn. So don't feel no type of way or whatever. If you have the means and the ability, just go ahead, pop up and pop your question, and we all gonna dive in together and work together. So that is my that is my thing for today. So I see 39 of y'all in there, and then nobody want to come up. That's kind of crazy, but that's okay. Hey, that's okay. I'll give y'all a little bit of time here to go through everything and come on up. As a matter of fact, give me a quick second here. I got one other thing I would it's actually out of Enoch. I can't remember where that one particular is. I wish the Sefer Bible had a desktop version. The Sefer is such a good Bible. Like, if you don't have the Sefer Bible on your phone, I highly recommend it. I think it's like 20 some bucks. It was $20 when I bought it last time. And the good thing is it's a one buy only. The Sefer is one of the better translations. The only thing I don't like about the Sefer is there's a version of Enoch that was translated directly from the Ethiopians by this gentleman called Alexander. And that's really one of the true versions of the book of Enoch right there, because it's directly transferred from the book that the Ethiopians had within their Bible. And that's the best version. However, there was another version that the Jesuits got to. And that's the version that unfortunately is in the Apocrypha. And you'll find it a lot of times you have to specifically search for the Andrews version, because in that version they've changed a lot of things. Like they tried to say that the ark was built by angels, which is not true. The ark was not built by angels. It was built by by Noah himself. But what he did tell the angels was to work at giant trees. And that is what hold on, let me see here. Oh, there we go. That is what that is about. So whenever you get your transfers for all these different books, and I've warned about this. I always warned about this, and I want to tell y'all all the time, be careful about the books of the Bible that you read, that you pull from. You know, another book I see a lot of folks reading from is the Book of Adam and Eve, and I can't find a version that's not been touched by Jesuits. I just look at that book sideways. Anytime the only translation I find is done by Jesuits, we all know about the Jesuits. I talked about Jesuits and how they have their groves on the Diana groves on their gravestones and stuff like that, with the urn and the palm trees and stuff like that. Like they just straight trash. So be careful what books you read and what books you're going into. Always research and see who was the translator that brought that book out. And if it was a Jesuit, I'd toss that thing away. And all right, and I got Miss Shar up here. You muted.
Hey, good evening, Brother Red. What's the good word?
What's going on with you?
Hey, greetings, a wonderful evening. Thanks for all of the information and thought-provoking stuff. Hey to everybody in the chat as well. I had a quick question about something that I heard from the recent release of the movie The Odyssey. And your thoughts about this.
Mm-hmm.
In the Odyssey, there's a scene where Odysseus and his men end up fighting with the Cyclops.
Mm.
And the Cyclops, his father, is Poseidon.
Mm.
And as they are brutalizing the Cyclops, he cries out and calls his father's name. And then in the following scenes, they're showing how Poseidon is responding to the cry of his Nephilim child. So I was wondering what your thoughts are as you were talking about crying out and the tampering with the knowledge of our Father's name.
That's so interesting that you bring that up, because actually, if you go into the same book of Enoch that I was in, and if we go up to let's see here, where is it, where he put the reprimand against them when Enoch had went out to them, and where is that? Because one of the curses that the Most High put upon the fallen ones was that their children would die before their eyes, the children that they took glory in of. Because the Most High understands as a father that you care about your kids and you care about what's going on to you. And that's that same situation that's right there with and I forgot about that. I used to read the Odyssey a long time ago, and that did happen. I totally forgot about that. That's also like that cry out is him calling on his father the same way we call on our father, and they respond. And that it just goes to show that there was a deep care and love that the Watchers had for their fallen, nasty, rotten bastard children that they sired. And just like how we as a parent, if you come and somebody snatch up your child or knock your child down, the first thing you're going to want to do is go over there and go upside their head and fight them. It's the same thing with the Most High. It's that his name is not only, he's not only his child, but also your name is attached to them. That's the other part about it that I don't think that we understand too, is like, if Poseidon allowed them to punk his son, then who's going to respect Poseidon? if Poseidon's Lord of the Sea, and then they're like, yo, Poseidon's son just got ran through, they destroyed him, and he called for him, and nothing happened. Like, nobody's gonna respect him. It's like, bro, you can't even respect your kids. What's the point in honoring you and calling you God of the Sea? You're trash. So it's like a two-way thing where it's also for the love of the child, but it's also because it's who I am. I got to show that everybody that, yo, this is who I am, and you can't touch mine. These my kids, and you're not finna mess with my kids. So it's like a duality of protection as well as an enforcement of authority. Like, yo, I'm Poseidon. This is my son. How dare you come at my son?
That's such a good point because, like, now that you say that, I mean, I'm just seeing so much of the mimicry of Yah and his creation and his relationship with his children. How the how even when he talks about redeeming us, that it's to put respect back on his name. Yes, I'm keeping my promise. Yes, my word cannot fail. Like, y'all may have fallen short, you may have fallen away, but I must put respect on my name. I must keep my promise that I made to my servant Abraham. And so when I return you to your former estate, it's not for you. It's because I'm a promise keeper and it is for my glory. And so that was such a good point that you made. It just had me thinking, and I just couldn't help but think about the mimicry. You know, the copycats.
I heard a wise elder once say how Satan put it in good context for me about how Satan didn't say he was going to replace the Most High. He knew he couldn't do that. What he said he wanted to do was be like the Most High. They want to be like him. So they want to do the things that he do and have the things that he has. That's why they came down and made children, because he created us as humans. We're his children in his image. So they wanted to do the same thing, and tapping into us, which is basically trying to tap into Yah and tap into, it's like somebody coming in and building onto the house that you built already. And you come home one day and you see a joker that added a whole additional room on the backside of your house. Like, what are you doing? You're in my home and you're trying to, you done built another replica of my house on top of my house, and you tried to copy my house and what I got going on. And in the process of trying to copy my house, you've looted my house and destroyed my house to build your own house. Like, that's essentially what we have going on in the beginning of mankind, is that they were trying to emulate the Most High Yah and throw a monkey wrench in all the stuff that he had going on. That's why we see that nastiness with your boy with the big one by eyeball in the Odyssey. I appreciate that, sis. I appreciate that coming through. That I might have to rewatch that and see the new version of that movie. I saw the old one from back in the day. I might take a rewatch. All that stuff that I had to learn, I'm quite sure it's going to have a lot of nonsense layered up in there. I appreciate you coming up, Shaw. Anybody else who want to come through and come in and come on up, don't be shy, don't be scared. Ain't nobody gonna sit up here and judge you or nothing. Like, that's the other thing. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. just step up. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna say the right thing. I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm not giving well with speech, bro. Just do it. Just do it. That's what I tell everybody. Like, you just do it. Just do it. Just jump up and just do it. And that's with anything. A lot of times we always shy away back from stuff because it makes us uncomfortable and we worry about what other people got to say. Don't worry about what nobody else got to say. Just worry about, hey, I got some information I want to know, and I don't got this. Like, just go forward and move forward. And not just in this, just in anything. Move forward. Don't allow your own self to hold you back because of fear. And that's what we've been trained to do, because as number one, as just Hebrew people as a whole, they've slapped us down and told us not, to put our head down and stuff, and ripped our personality away. They ripped our last names away, ripped away everything that makes us a person and turned us into just things. And, sometimes we move like that, and we got to get out of that mindset of just, being scared to move forward, because the Most High made us to be bold, man. He ain't make us to be no little shy, scared, hiding in the corner type person. You can be humble and not be scared. That's the duality of the thing, because we're taught that being bold is to be crass and annoying and overbearing, when that's not the case at all. Bold is just standing up for the truth when people want to tell you that 2 + 2 is 10. you know, we're gonna stand up and say, nah, it's 4. Even if they call you a hater and try to cancel you because you say 2 + 2 is 4, guess what? If you take 2 apples and add 2 apples, you're gonna never have 10 apples. You're gonna only have 4. It is what it is. That's how that rolls. So I'm gonna throw that out there again, see if anybody else want to come on through. Actually, let me what she said about the Cyclops just got me on something. Let me pull up my a familiar thing here. Where is that? Go back into my one of the old bags I have here about Cyclops. Where's that that website? Because that's kind of interesting. No, let's go to Google. Where is that? Why is it doing books? Don't do books. There is a website. Oh no, don't tell me they took it down. Oh, that stinks. Hold on. That's not cool. There is a website that was around that used to show you all your cryptids and stuff like that, which they call the Cyclops a cryptid. It was like a little encyclopedia about them, kind of like a cryptid Wikipedia. That's kind of annoying. That's really kind of annoying. Yeah, they took that website. It must be I'm gonna have to search for it. My old link isn't working. That's kind of goofy. That is goofy. Yeah, they really got rid of my my favorite website. I used to go to this website all the time. Y'all may have seen it before, where I talked about the Aramo Spy, which the Aramo Spy, Aramospoi, I believe. Aramo Spy is what they call it, which is similar to Cyclops. They are single-eyed giants, and they have a horn on the top of their head. Ah, there it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Okay, cool. Let's do this. There we go. Bam. Aramospoi. So this was similar to what she was just talking about with the Odyssey and all of these guys here. These were the ones that had one eye and a horn on their head. They were a tribe of one-eyed men who lived at the foot of the Rheaspon Mountains in the northern Scythia. They warred constantly with gold guardian griffins and mountain ring beasts and the heads of eagles and bodies of lions. According to Herodotus, their name was derived from Scythian word arima, one, spow, eye. So these were dudes that was out here that were similar to the I just thought about those dudes when she had talked about the Cyclops. They were similar to those dudes out there, and it just goes to show that this mess here with these things left behind, man. They really it's disgusting how they tried to change history and try to say that our ancestors just saw these things and just, oh, they saw stars and they wrote this and they saw that and they wrote that, so they could take away from the true meaning of what this stuff was, that this was literally the byproducts of a cosmic war that was going on with fallen angels rebelling against their creator. It's an interesting thing that they had that they tried to pull with that, and the fact that we out here just thinking it's anytime I hear, and it's usually from a person of Amorite descent, that they talk about, oh, they just saw these things and it's just mythology and blah 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 and all that. Like, anybody that's trying to tell you that it's mythology, number one, they're ignorant, and number two, I believe that they are a plant. There was actually a YouTuber here recently that just did a big thing talking about like mythology. And he's a well-known YouTuber too that talks about a lot of different like hidden secret stuff that's going on in government and all that. He's like this dude that reveals stuff, and he did this thing talking about that, trying to basically make people that believe in conspiracy theories and all this other stuff look stupid. And it's just a part of the plan of the enemy to keep us dumb and ignorant, so we don't cry out and don't understand that, hey, we are in the same situation that the Enoch and all them was in. We are in the same situation our people was in Exodus. So we can cry out and we can make yells about this mess. And they don't want us to know that. That's why they keep pushing all this stuff on us and these lies on us. So if anybody's not gonna come up, then this brother here, I will actually cut this thing short then, because my plan was to interact with y'all today and to really get into what you have been studying and trying to see what you have been there, because everybody want to come in and always learn. But when do you go study for yourself? When do you go and get before the Most High for yourself? If all you do is eat at other people's house and you never cook in your house, what's going to happen when you can't go to nobody else's house? What's going to happen if you stuck on house arrest and you can't go nowhere and you got to cook for yourself? But you can't even boil water. You burn water. You can't even boil water. Like, we got to learn how to start seeking the Most High for ourselves. We have to learn how to get before the Most High ourselves and allow the Most High to teach us and to raise us up ourselves. We can't keep leaning on other folks and other teachers, especially, a lot of us, especially here lately, we get on like the YouTube trip. Everybody get on and that's the thing that they go. And that's like the only words you hear. You have to get in that word for yourself. You have to study that thing for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. My mom used to tell me all the time, hey, mama can't go to the Most High for you. I can pray for you, but you have to go for yourself. And that's the same thing with everybody else. You can sit here and learn other people all day, but at the end of the day, unless you go and apply those things yourself, you aren't gonna have anything. What's going on, Sister Fatea? How are you this afternoon, rather?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Good.
My question actually deals with what was it, the blood and the soul after reading your book.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent like a translation about how it's different from the King James version and the Tridel, about how I'm trying to remember the verse off the top of my head for John, where it says Yahuwah and his word and his spirit are one, and they're in agreement. And then in the King James version, for the next part, when it comes to the earth, it says that for the earth, it's the spirit, the blood, and the water are one, and they're in agreement. But the King James version does not say that they are one. They're actually technically created as separately, and that they're just witnesses to each other.
What verse is that from?
Let me see. I'm going to have to look back on when.
Because I do remember us talking about that a while ago, and the water is definitely an interesting point, but I want to see what the scripture says directly before throwing in anything, because water, especially within the earth, water within the earth is very interesting. If you think about water actually functions like blood in the earth. If you really kind of look at the nature of it and how it goes, it always has to flow. And if you look at estuaries and rivers and how everything feeds each other, it's like a constant flow that's going from the abyss and the deep that goes throughout the earth, and then it like pumps out throughout all the earth. Like the abyss is like, you can say, like the heart of the earth, and the water pumps out and flows. And if you get to a point where water stagnates, it is not moving, it dies, just like your blood. If your blood isn't moving around, then that's why like people get their foot cut off when they have diabetes and stuff, because you don't got good blood flow to your foot, and it stagnates and dies. Your blood flow to your extremities gets weakened, and then that's when they start dying off. So the analog there is interesting, and I want to see what the actual scripture lines up so we can see what break the whole thing down. Because water is a very interesting substance within the earth. It sustains us. It's what we're primarily made of in our body, and it's also like a sustainer of the earth, just like the blood is your sustainer of your body. Blood carries oxygen to all the parts of your body, which is what fuels all your chemical explosions that go on in your body. All the chemical reactions in your body are supplied by the blood, which the blood is helped fed from by water. So there's a good analog in there. Oh, did you fall out? Oh no, there you go. There you go.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I got kicked.
Nah, you're good.
It's also too. I think I brought that up too. That it's like YouTube's been like playing with just
Playing with what? You broke up there. No, I think she got kicked again. Oh no.
Hello?
Yep. Are you there? I hear you now. Yep.
Okay. Oh my goodness, why is it doing that? It's like every time I keep trying to bring up the verse, that's when that happens. So hold on a sec. I'm going to do something. I don't consider that a coincidence. I'm like, somebody doesn't want me to talk about this. Like, wait. Okay, just give me a moment. Hold on.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem because I kind of want to see that scripture too. Because water has been something that I've been kind of pondering on every now and then when I do my little ruminations about the Most High. I think about, little things and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been actually studying because after I read your book, I started studying more about like the spirits of the ruach and air and breath, and then also too water. And as you were saying, where water and blood acts the same way. I forgot the name of it. I could go and look it up, but it's the same way when a lot of people get together, they start mimicking rivers and oceans. They call it like some kind of wave effect.
Yes, waves. Yeah, even traffic functions like waves. Yeah, everything functions like a wave. Like even when people are walking and moving together, it has like a wave function. To put it in the scientific terms, it's like a wave function that actually that you can measure the rate of people moving and the rate that the crowd moves and all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Okay. So the scripture is 1 John 5:8. So in the King James Version, it says this: "And there are three that bear witness in earth, the spirit and the water and the blood, and these three agree in one." Now, in the Tridel Bible that I have a copy of, it says this: "For there are three which bear record in earth, the spirit and water and blood, and these three are one."
Yep, there are three witnesses. I got that here. Let me zoom it in for all the folks watching. We got
I highly recommend everybody to read his book, please. It's a great read.
I appreciate that. There are three witnesses: the spirit, the water, and the blood, and all three are in agreement. Okay, now let's go here. We got the spirit, the pneuma, which this is in 1 John, so this is Greek. Okay, and the water, the hydor. Let's just make sure water's rivers. Yep, the deluge. Okay, the water's in the sea. And the blood, the haima, the blood of man, and the seed of life, the soul. Okay. And the three, the trees, are in agreement. That's interesting. Universally, and opposed to many, they're one. And that really makes sense about even with the spirit, the water, and the blood, and all three are. Let's just go up and read the whole thing in context, because this is where we get understanding. Everyone who has faith that Yahusha is the Christ and the child of Yahuwah, and everyone who has love for the Father has love for his child. That just goes to show for those that try to deny the Messiah, there it is. You can't love the Father without loving his kid. They one and the same. In this way, we are certain that we have love for the children of Yah, and when we have love for Yah and keep his laws. For loving Yah is keeping his laws, and his laws are not hard. Anything which comes from Yah is able to overcome the world, and by the power by which we have overcome the world is our faith. Who is able to overcome the world but the man who has faith in the Yahusha, who is the son of Yah? This is he who came by water and by blood, Yahusha HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and by blood. And the spirit is the witness, because the spirit is true. And there are three witnesses: the spirit, the water, and the blood, and all three are in agreement. If we take the witness of men to be true, the witness of Yah is greater, because this is the witness which Yah has given about his son. So essentially what he is saying is, we know that Yahusha HaMashiach is the son of Yah by the spirit and by the water and the blood. Basically, he's one with him in the spirit, and he's also one with him in the flesh and blood, or the water. Because again, how are we born? When a child is born, what happens?
Yep, they're born in water and blood.
The water breaks.
Yes, the water breaks. And remember, it's like, what's the doctor listening for them to take that first breath and start screaming?
Exactly. So basically, the witness is the fact that he was there in the spirit and he was there in the flesh. All of these come into agreement to show that he is who he said he was. He was who he said he was in the spirit. He was who he said he was in the flesh. He was also who he said he was by the water, because even his birth bears witness to his majesty, because his birth was foretold by the prophets. So his birth was in agreement with the spirit. The spirit is because he walks in the spirit of Yah. He shows the demonstration of the spirit of Yah, and the blood was his sacrifice when he died. What was the thing that redeemed us? His blood. All three of those things came into agreement to make the manifestation of the Most High, of the Messiah, who he is. In this context, that's where I'm leaning towards what they are trying to get across in this situation here, to let us know that Yahusha is the son of Yah, and we know this by the witness of the spirit, of his spirit that he showed. He was born of woman, you know what I'm saying, the blood and the water. Because remember too, one of the people that used to always ask him when Messiah was teaching about how to be born again, he was saying that the dude asked him, he's like, so do we got to go back in our mama's belly and come out again? Like, he was like, okay, so that means we got to go through the water again? Like, we got to go back in the belly and come out again? Like, what do you mean? So that is kind of where I'm leaning. What was it that you've seen in your studies of it?
Oh, because I started getting a lot more deeper into the different elements of the spirit, the blood, and the water. Mm-hmm. And I'll just continue on with the blood first. I'm still doing studies on the water and the breath, and that's going to be still a little bit like I don't have enough information to go off of yet. But for the blood one, when I was reading it for the verse before with Yahuwah, his word, and his spirit, and then it connects to the spirit also in the earth with the blood and the water. And you were saying that our soul is the blood. So the blood is actually the connection that keeps us here on earth, because in both the heaven realm and the earth realm, you have both the spirit, so breath, and you also have water. They exist on both of those planes of existence. But the only one that exists on earth is blood. And that's the reason why and this is for both sides going into the Old Testament, but one is still practiced today, of course, like witches sacrifice animals. And then also too, back in the Old Testament, when animal sacrifices were needed to be able to cleanse sin. It's because that blood held power to be able to cleanse. And that's the reason why they were using, that's the reason why witches want that blood, because it gives them more power within the earth. So when they're able to do a human sacrifice, they get a lot more bang for the buck, pretty much. So when they're going from like, oh, I went from a chicken to cats, dogs, and then now I'm going to do human sacrifice now. And then compared to, this happened during one of my discussions in altars, but I won't do that one on this one. But so pretty much what they're sacrificing to an altar to be able to communicate with another spirit to get power within the earth to be able to do what they want to do. Why we use Yahusha's blood, which is the ultimate one that can actually cleanse and actually give you backing of his authority if you're in alignment with the Most High.
So it sounds like what you did was you took it and kind of, it's not saying that what you're looking at is wrong. It's just you took it beyond the context of what this scripture is talking about and just looked at the overall themes of blood, water, and the spirit. Does that sound correct?
Yes, I looked at the overall theme throughout the whole Bible, because when I saw that was a different translation, I read your book, I was like, now I'm curious. So it got me into looking at blood and altars and air, so breath, and also water. But like I said, I haven't gotten enough information on the other two yet to be able to like do a discussion quite yet. But for the blood one, that's as far as I have kind of like come for it.
So with the blood, the way that the way the Most High conducted sacrifices and the way that the fallen do sacrifices had different purposes. The sacrifices that were done on the temple were done as a way to appease judgment, because the wages of sin is death. So something has to die. When Adam and Chua committed their sin, the first thing the Most High did was actually do a sacrifice for them. When he killed the lions and made the skins for them, that was the sacrifice that had to start. It wasn't a perfect sacrifice because it could only be fulfilled by the blood of a human. So basically what they were doing was basically getting like probation, essentially. Like this was like commuting their sentence, essentially, by using the animal blood and just the mercy of the Most High. That was like the commuted sentence until the Messiah came, and with his perfect blood and his perfect form, being born of man, but not of Adam, but of Yah, and being the perfect sacrifice, he was able to serve now as our mediator in that situation for that. So when the Most High deals with blood, it's usually more of a judicial justice type performance with it. It's he never just takes blood just for the sake of taking blood. It's always done for the sake of justice. Like when Achan committed his crime and it caused the deaths of many Hebrews, his line got cut off. That was blood for that blood. He caused deaths of others, so now his whole family had to die because as a result of it, to balance out that injustice. But when what I've noticed from my looking into with the Watchers and the fallen angels and how they deal with the blood, they're more of a vampiric situation. I believe a lot. What we got to understand is a lot of witches and warlocks and stuff, unless you're like what's that chick's name? Abramovich, that one big high level witch chick, and all these other high level witches that be working in politics and all that kind of stuff, and TV that we look at all day long. Those folks deal with it as a way of stealing power. It's like, we see it even at their low level, what they do with adrenochrome, that they'll take the blood of a younger person and use that blood to supplement their life. So they're not taking blood as a means of justice. They're taking blood as a means of theft. It is a means to sustain themselves. The Nephilim didn't have long lives. They were genetic mutations that were just trash on this earth. So the only way to sustain themselves, this is why they whatever they ate, it didn't work. For us, we're normal. So when we eat stuff, we're able to basically cultivate it within our body and turn it into sustenance. What you eat comes into your blood. It's how you restore yourself. They're genetic freaks that shouldn't exist. So they can't do what we do. So they had to consume us and to take the breath of life that the Most High put in us, which is that spirit, that spirit, that breath, that soul that's in our blood. That is what they take to sustain us. That is why we have the whole vampire thing going on right now. Because what do vampires do? They can't sustain themselves on their own. They're dead. They need living blood to sustain themselves. So that's the difference with the way the Most High handles blood and the way they handle blood. They're parasitic with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because they go backwards. So you were going on my thought where everything that the Most High does, they try to copy, but they do it in a backwards way. Bingo. So they use the blood. So as you were saying, we covered it for Yahuwah on why he uses blood. But why they use blood is, as you said, is to get energy, is to get power, and to be able to stay in this plane of existence.
Yes, exactly.
So that's where that took me off to. So, and then also using that to put onto their altars to sacrifice to their gods. Because the altar is kind of like how's the best way? Like a terminal. Like the best way I can sum it up, at least like in my terms, is the altar. I'm going to use the DMV. You go to the DMV, you want to get a license, and so you're on the other side of the counter. They're on the other side of the counter. The altar is that counter. And you're like, hey, here's the form. So your agreement. Here's my money. So blood, sacrifice. And they take it and they're like, okay, yeah, you did. Is everything in proper order? Okay, yes, we'll give it to you. And that's how I was seeing it, as like that type of, like the altar was like a transactional
It is a place where it is a place, and it's funny that you use the DMV, because yes, it is a place where you as a citizen go to interact with the law. The law is the Most High Yah, and you have to go before these different people who are appointed by the law to do their work. That's what the priests were. That's what the head priests and all of them were. They were the clerks that were there that went to the magistrate or the king rather, which is the Most High Yah, on behalf of everybody else. So everybody came to the clerk's office with their sacrifice to get their their license for their car or their family that says you're good for the year. That's essentially what the sacrifice was. It was just like when we go to the DMV and get the tags on our car and look at you're good for a year. 1 year later, you got to go and you got to get that yellow tag again and throw that sucker on your car for the next year, or you could do a 2 year, but Most High didn't do 2 years. It was always done every year. So that's actually a very, very excellent analogy. That's a really good analogy.
Oh, but going more further into it, going to the DMV is technically the legal way, as you were saying, for the Most High, for us to interact with the Most High through Yahusha. So it's like, hey, we're interacting with him through the DMV terminal. So we're doing it the legal way. The way that the enemy is doing it is like the John Wick, where you see in the background, they're in a different back alley place. So they're being near the DMV, but there'll be like a secret room in the DMV where you can go there and be like, hey, I don't got all the paperwork. I don't got everything I need, but but we still have our own sets of rules and standards, of course, rules and consequences. So I will submit the application that you want, give you the sacrifice that you want, and I want to get this in return.
The John Wick explanation is so perfect. They go to the Continental, and instead of using the currency of the Most High, which is faithfulness and obedience and the fruit of the Spirit, they use mammon, gold coins. They use the gold coins. They have a different exchange and they have a different rule. That's a really, really good. That's an excellent analogy. I like that. That's really good.
See that it took me down a rabbit hole. So I'm not even done yet.
No, that's accurate. That is exactly accurate, and that is how that thing works, because they are definitely copycats in everything that they do from the Most High. And one thing that we always have to realize is that the people that we see, the hyenas that's out here doing all the goofy stuff, charging the crystals when they Sailor Moon crap in the moonlight and all that nonsense, they don't know what they're like. Paul said, you're worshiping what you know not. You don't even know what you're doing. You're just out here doing stuff. But when we look at the actual activities of these high level folks that's going on, like when we see all these black folks that come up missing, and you find it like the one young black dude that they found rolled up in the mattresses at the school, and then his parents went and saw that all his body parts had been taken away, and how the one black lady had her DNA taken without her knowing. How they come in, and why is it that they always collecting your placenta and all the stuff after you give birth? What are y'all doing with all our, with all that stem cells and DNA? Like, this is what they're taking, and they're using us to farm us essentially for sustenance. That's essentially what these Nephilim do with the blood. We're like a farm for them. Like, I don't think people understand is that they come in and they showing us all this extra stuff, but what they're really intending to do is to herd us and farm us like cattle, and to just use us to sustain themselves off of us.
Yeah, literally the first Castlevania covered that.
Exactly.
What did Carmilla want to do? Things. Yeah,
right.
Yep, Carmilla. He wanted to thin out the herd and keep the rest for cattle to be able to sustain themselves. That's what there was. I think there's a video game coming out too about vampires, and it was that similar situation where the vampire, it was even like that in Vampire Hunter D, the anime that they talked about, where the nobles were vampires. All the nobles of the land were vampires. They were ancient vampires that were sustaining themselves off people. And in some places, they would sacrifice the young girls to the vampire just so they could live. We see that. What was the like even in like the Wicker Man, same scenario of people that sustain themselves by sacrificing other folks to these creatures. It's a human farm. We're literally like a giant human farm. I truly believe that they got like a Logan's Run type place out there where they just basically have a bunch of humans that they just use as a farm. That's one of my like just personal thought processes, because you got to put yourself in the mindset of a depraved thing that doesn't look at humans as a human. And you have to look at humans like we look at cows. What do? We take cows, we put them in pens, we mark them, we keep track of them, we make sure they birth, all that kind of stuff. That's literally what they're doing to us. All that stuff is literally what they're doing to us. It's just that we're getting to the point where they're about to put tags on our ear, which is that
New World Order nonsense and the mark that they're going to be able to track us like we track cows and other creatures. That's really good.
Yeah, so that's what I've been like studying off into.
And don't feel bad about the spirit thing. The books that I see that are available now, there's not much that talks about the spirit in detail. We hear different things where we can glean the function of the spirit, but I haven't really seen anything that breaks down the spirit the same way it breaks down the soul like that. Like, I haven't seen any specific scriptures. Not yet. There's probably some out there. I'm not saying it's not out there, but from what I've been studying and from what I've been seeing about spirit, I haven't seen anything that's as conclusive as it is about the soul that is the spirit, which kind of leads me to believe that the Most High wants us to know some things about the spirit, but there's some things that, you know, we ain't gonna know yet until he reveals it to us. Whether there's other books of the Bible that go into detail that they hid from us about it, which might be the case. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, that there may be books out there that go into further detail about it, kind of like how Enoch goes into detail, Jasher and Jubilees, and they hid that from us for all these years. I believe that there may be other books as well that may talk more about the spirit that we can gain a better understanding. But it's just that for this moment right now, the Most High may not, like y'all can do without that for now, because look at how people act now with the little bit of knowledge we know. If we really had a higher understanding of the spirit, man, jokers would be out here astral projecting all over the place.
That is true. But yeah, that's pretty much where I got onto for the blood. So, like I said, I haven't really looked more into the other two yet. I have been, at least for like the breath part, I have been reading a few different books that reference to science on that one, but that's about it. But my more deeper dive has been on that blood one that I was just talking about. So
yeah, well, the breath is really the energy within. It's kind of like your soul is made of two parts. There's a physical and it's still physical, but it's at a different level of physical, kind of like how plasma is a different form of matter. You know, you have the physical, which is the blood that we see, the red, you know, the actual hemoglobin, all that kind of stuff. And then there is the essence that's in the blood, or what's called the chi, or the breath, the electrical energy that's in the blood. Your blood is essentially carrying electrical power throughout your body. It's like a liquid wiring of sorts that goes throughout our body. That's essentially what it is. So that breath is that electrical energy, because your blood actually carries the electrical charge throughout your body. It's even sustained by the electrical charge within your meridians, or your arteries, as we call them over here. There's a charge that helps your blood flow through your body, and your blood also carries that charge so that it can go in and energize your body. That's what the energy that the blood carries. It's that electrical energy that causes the chemical reactions that make your cells do what they do. It's like the power of your body. So that's what that chi, that breath is. It's that what the Most High breathed into us, that breath, that energy that basically sustains the blood. It's kind of like you have a car. A car is essentially a car battery is essentially a chemical battery. I don't know if you've ever seen a car battery and shook it. Sometimes you can hear you hear like a sloshing around in there. It's like a giant chemical battery, essentially. And when your chemical battery is down low, what happens? You got to get a jump. That means you got to get energy from somewhere else to help jumpstart the energy within your car to keep that energy going. Then the car sustains itself with what's called the alternator. Well, with us, it was the same thing. The Most High put that energy into Adam. Adam was a vessel that was there. He had the spirit in there. He needed a way to attach him. He breathed that breath of life to circulate that soul, and that's what attached that spirit into that body and brought him to life. That's that energy that circulates that blood in his body.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was like looking at that scripture when it says they are one, because technically one can't work without the other two. So they have to actually be working together.
Facts. That's why, heart attack essentially just a short circuit of your heart. The energy can't circulate, and then you have a backflow in your circuit, and then the heart, boom, it crashes essentially.
Yep. So that's pretty much where that led me off to. So that was my question to go into there, and giving other opinions on at least the blood section. So
yeah, no, that's good. That's actually good. That is really, 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 really good. Even that scripture that you brought out, the way that they brought that forth is pretty awesome, with the spirit, the water, and the blood. letting us know about how the Most High was basically everything about him was an agreement for who he is, and everything about him it shows that he is who he said he was.
Yes, and also too, what I've been learning about his word. He likes to layer and hide stuff within those words. That's the reason why I went off on this search, because I'm like, wait a second, what do you mean they're one? Let me go look at this. So
no, it's true, because I mean, again, the spirit is obviously what's in the what comes into the body. The water and the blood is what circulates you and what basically cultivates that egg into a human. And then when you're born, hey, that water and blood, all that's there, and then how you have this fully formed human. I mean, that's why when you see the when the sperm actually goes into the egg, they say there's a sharp light that occurs at that point. There's a bright light that happens after the fertilization happens. I believe that's when the spirit is starting to sink into that body, and then that's when everything starts to move and do what it do. When that person first gets into this earth, that's what's up.
yep. So that's where I went off to, and then also too, like the different governmental setups. So
No, I appreciate that. That was good. The DMV thing, that's so accurate, because that's exactly what it is. These jokers is out here like the what's the what was that one? What was it called? Web of Shadows? Yeah, I think was it Web of Shadows? I think it was Spider-Man, where he had like that little shadowy group. Was it Web of Shadows? I can't remember. It was a group that they all work in the shadows and working underground and doing things illegally and stuff like that from one of the Marvel groups. I can't remember their name, but that's when you said that, I thought about them too.
It's like, yeah, because like even in the world of John Wick, they still have rules and consequences they have to follow. So
bingo, exactly. They're even amongst the fallen, they have their rules, and they have the way to keep people in line. That is true. That is true. I appreciate that. That's actually really excellent. And that water. Now, the water has always been a fascinating substance to me, anyway, because it's so it's so versatile. It's just good for so many different things. It's like the Most High is just, his wisdom is just unmatched. The way water does is what it does, from sustaining to breaking to even using cutter. You got water cutters and stuff like that. Like it's crazy.
yeah, but that's where I've been. So next thing I'm working on is looking at water, and then also too like the whole government builds, because I found more stuff on that too, but I gotta do a deeper dive on that. So
yeah, water is really, really interesting. I would recommend looking up the abysses that are out there. Through Enoch talks a lot about the different abysses and whatnot, and then there's one particular abyss that is even talked about a lot in these days. It's the island with the 4 rivers that go out from it, which is also very similar to the Garden of Eden, because the Garden of Eden also had 4 rivers that went out and fed all the other rivers of the earth. And they talk about this island that has a giant, basically it's like the center of the magnetic energy of Earth, this giant magnetic island at the center of it. And in the center of this mountain, there's like a big abyss where all the water meets. Herodotus talks about it. All these different other Spanish travelers, they talked about it, how they could only go to the island in a wooden boat, because if you went with metal in it, you wouldn't be able to get away. It was real interesting how they talk about this island. They called it the source of the water and all the earth. And when you start looking at that, and then you read Enoch and see how they talk about the different abysses, then you start kind of seeing how water is kind of like blood, and there's like a centralized system where the water flows throughout all the earth, like a circulatory system.
oh yeah, because in a circulatory system you have valves that push the blood up or down. And if you look at what is it, the book of Job, when God shows himself, well, Yahuwah shows himself at like towards the end, he talked about, oh, did you like put the gates in place to hold the water back?
Bingo. Bingo. The Most High was letting Job know, hey, you don't even know how this thing, the place you live in work, brother. Like, yeah, that's why, it's a flow in the water. It's like it's a circulatory system for the earth.
Yep. So that's pretty much one of the things I have been saying. Just one. The other one, like I said, is like the governmental structure, because I've been putting stuff together. I'm like, wait, what am I seeing here? So
Hmm.
because it's not just the blood in the altars that I've been talking about. It's the same thing with this might be a little bit more of Judge Char's lane, but she also kind of got me on the tangent for it. Um, it was what was it? The court system. So the DMV was just a simplified way for me to go with it, but pretty much like having a clerk's office for that, then going up to the court system, then of course having like the background government that you have, kind of like the John Wick or the other side, but they're
Mm-hmm.
also able to come onto the normal side as well too, because they complete their cases in the court. And then
Mm.
what was it? How the altar is connected to that, but then also too how heaven and earth are witnesses to everything that's going on. So technically, this is in Psalms. I don't know which book. I would have to look it up. I have my notebook for it, but how everybody technically actually has a book. So like everything that is you're doing are pretty much Most High already. What was it? I just read this. Oh my goodness. I am trying to remember. I think it's an Amos. I think I read it last night. So it was Amos. Where he was talking about that he's written everybody's stories. And then in Psalms, he talked about books. And I'm like, wait a second. So is heaven and earth witnessing the story in the book that's been written for you? And through this altar, you submit any agreements you agree to, knowingly or unknowingly. They can go up into the courtroom. And that way, like, the enemy can be like, hey, this is what they say about themselves or about other people, and da 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 da, to like do judgment on you. And then, what was it? Because technically, like we already know, Satan knows the Most High's word in and out. So
Mhm.
he's like, hey, your word says this. So if the person does that and da 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 da, and then when you get into, oh my gosh, like I said, it's just all in my notebook, and this is just me going off on a tangent. So forgive me for that.
No, you're fine. You're
And
fine.
then of course you can plead your case within the courtroom. But what happens? Like I said, this is more like probably a Judge Shar question. But what happens when both sides, so defendant and plaintiff, what if it's like on a standstill where it's like, hey, no decision can technically be passed because both of you presented information that could be supported, but so we can't go forward on this one. And if that ends up happening, you can do an appeal to not to the court, but you can actually go directly into the throne room and ask for a royal prerogative, which means it's like it's only between you and the Most High, and if he agrees with the decision or not.
This is where it kind of, to take it out of our court system and put it more in a kingdom perspective, this is where the Messiah comes in. And if we were to be in the kingdom, and the way it would be set up, if somebody were to bring an accusation up and to say, they would bring you before the king, there's all the different people around, the elders around the judge and stuff like that, and they're saying, this is the accusation, this is that. That's when the Messiah would step in and say, yes, these are things that happened here and here. However, this is my child who's been walking in my way and did this and this. So according to that, they're coming through me. I'm asking, as the arbiter for them, I'm asking the king for favor for them to forgive them. He comes in and steps in before us and basically pleads to us before the king. We have that sort of with lawyers, but it was a little different when it was done like in kingdom times, because it would be like
kingdom. Yeah, but that's what I was saying for the kingdom times, is that even in kingdoms, because remember when Moses had to like split it off because he couldn't hear all the cases. Only like the tough cases would go to him. So it would technically be like, as you could say for modern vernacular, there was a lower court system where everybody would start off at. But if it got to the point where it's like, okay, the courts can't handle this anymore, we got to bring it up to like, okay, the king or the leaders now is the one going to be in charge of it.
So are you talking about it in the form of us being the enemy charging us? Like, how are you presenting this forward? Because you can't use it as the same exact parallel, because the way the earthly courts work isn't the same way Yah's kingdom and courts work. He works and functions as a kingdom. We have a bastardized version of what he has set up. So we have to put it in context with the way he has it, which the way Moses and all that stuff dealt with, those were just lower level issues and stuff like that. But if it was Satan, of the enemy, our adversary himself, making acute accusations against us, that automatically goes up to Yah. That's a conversation between Yah, the high, the one who has the authority to basically toss us, souls, flesh and body into hell. So he's that final one that makes that choice. So when we are being accused against by the accuser, he's going to the top court. He's not dealing with the lower levels and all that kind of stuff. When the Messiah, the Messiah presented to Job, it was when Satan came and presented himself to him. And then that's when they were having that conversation directly. He didn't go to the local magistrates and go to the guys at the gate, the elders at the gate. He went to the one that they got to report to. He went up to that point to say, hey, how you protecting him? He's only doing this because of this and this because of that. And then that's how that situation comes about. Job is like the perfect example of that situation where he made an
that's the reason
accusation.
why I got into that. Yeah, that's how I got into it, was because of the whole Job, because Job is nothing but a court case.
Exactly.
It's nothing but it's actually a trial, and Job is the one that's technically being put on trial in front of everyone.
Not even necessarily a trial, it's an accusation. Yeah, I guess, yeah, you're right. It's a trial because it's an accusation from when the all the princes in heaven gathered themselves, and then Satan came up and gathered as well. And then he gave his, instead of giving his report, he comes up and accuses. And it's not the first time he did that, because if you read in Jasher, he did the same thing with Abraham. When Abraham was got the charge to go and sacrifice Isaac, that was because that same situation had happened. If you read in that story, the enemy went to the Most High and said, oh, well, he serves you because you gave him a son. I bet you he won't put, his son over, what you already gave him and all that. He's only serving you because you bless him. He only serving you because you giving him what he wants. That's his accusation.
Yeah, and remember in Jasher, he even said, hey, this is what Isaac even said. Because remember, Isaac told Ishmael, he's like, yeah, if the Most High wanted me to be sacrificed, I'll be sacrificed. And that's what I was talking about with the books and the witnesses, where it's like, hey, the earth and the heaven heard this. He said it himself.
Correct. It's just that it's not in the sense of a lower court. The enemy, because he came from the heavenly court, he goes up there and still tries to throw his mudslinging at us. That's what he does. He doesn't come and deal with he does, lower level stuff. There's always, because whenever you're doing something good, there's always gonna be some little joker in the background that's got something smart and slick to say, but them niggas don't matter. that's the ultimate thing. You don't have a heaven or hell to put me in. I'm sorry, I'm not here to please you. I'm not saying that you don't matter, but your opinion and how you want to do things, which is opposed to the Most High, it doesn't matter for us. So that's why we come with that mindset. So he goes to the one that can make and shake, the actual top authority. He goes there and deals with the situation directly with him. And of course, that's when the Messiah comes in and gives us mercy and extends the rod to us, and hey, we can come before the throne of grace.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking at for that one. But I was also wondering for the reason why I brought up the lower court system is kind of like what you were talking about. There are hierarchies that exist. So
correct. There's a hierarchy that exists, but the only one that has the right to judge humankind is the one that we're made in the image of.
Yep. That's why he says he's a mediator.
Yes, exactly. Like even the angels and stuff, they're servants. I ain't saying we sit here and we boss them around and we're fellow servants of the Most High. However, we hold a different position because of how the Most High created us. So the Most High deals with us directly. This is why David was like, "What is man that you're so mindful of him? Like all these heavenly creatures and heavenly things, and you're mindful of mankind. We're the only beings in creation at this point in time that are made in His image. So we carry a different type of authority with us than other things. In other creatures, there may be lower courts, and there are angels that handle, like there's an angel over Israel, and Gabriel. There's different angels that handle certain things, but those angels are not court officials to handle the affairs of us. They're like a steward, basically, over us, like a bodyguard, like the person that's making sure everything's running okay. Kind of like a person you hire, like a house manager. You manage my house. You're not the owner of the house. You don't have no right to put stuff in the house without the authority of me, the house owner, but you manage my house. You make sure everything is okay and in order. And, you make sure everything is running according to the rules that I, as the owner, set. And that's what those angels are there for. They set the rules according to the authority that the Most High himself has set. But at the end of the day, we're his creation. We're his children. So if anybody got beef with us, they got to go to him.
Yeah, so that's pretty much like what one of the tangents I've been off to. But yeah, for the lower course, as you described, that's actually where I went to for it. So, but how I said for like the backdoor government with the altars, that's what I was talking about with like, oh, if somebody like uses that as a backdoor to get to you, and how do you get to the higher courts to be able to appeal whatever like curse they were trying to put onto you? So, like I said, I'm still actually looking into this. I'm like, I don't know what's the connection between that with like John Wick and like the Matrix a little bit, and doing more deeper dives into the scripture with like Job, and then what happened with like Isaac when his words were used, when the enemy used his words against him. So like, oh, this is what he said. So
right. It's more like curses. You can
like an agent. Yeah, Todd Wilson, that like an agent.
Yeah, exactly. You could also think of curses too as like a judgment without a fair trial. Like they're trying to pronounce a judgment on you without a fair trial, which is what, you know, we've been subject to in this nation for years, 400 years now. And this is some of the reason why the Most High is coming against them, because you can't do a judgment without fair justice. The Most High hates injustice above all things. So most of these jokers, they be cursing and committing witchcraft. They're basically kangaroo courting in the spirit. They want to go and hold their own court with their own magistrates and pronounce their own law outside of Yah's law. And that's how you get yoked up by the Most High.
Yeah, it literally, I know, like, the reason why I like John Wick is not actually because of the violence, it's because of, like, wait, like, what if this actually exists? Is this, like, all backdoor government? Because remember, they also have their own judges in their own courts.
Correct. Exactly. It's a backdoor shadow government that, you know, that works on. That's essentially what these power rulers of darkness, that's what they are. They have like a shadow government where they pronounce their own judgments over us and try to be rulers over us, when that's not the case. They're not. We just fell, so we fell into their hands for a temporary time, but they're not the rulers over us, which is why the Most High is going to come and smack them upside their head. Like, y'all got beside yourself. Y'all was just here to put them in prison. You wasn't here to declare death over them. You wasn't here to do what you all that stuff. Y'all, you took it too far. So now I got to come and bust your head.
Yeah, come for the high table. So, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. So unless somebody else have a turn, so
cool.
But that's pretty much what I've been deep diving into. So
that's awesome. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. That's helping us understand the basics of everything that's going on, because, you know, we've been fed with so much religion that we got to take the religion out of everything and just look at it for what it really is.
Yep. So
I appreciate you, sis. I appreciate you. That was that's actually a good deduction that you're coming into and stuff like that. Let me know when you pick up something else on the spirit and stuff, and we can compare notes and see what's going on, because I still be stuck in looking at stuff for the spirit. This is why I shake my fist at the Vatican, because I know they got all our books, and I know there's probably some good writings in there with just such juicy information, but these I hate it. It's not even yours to hold and keep. That's the part that pisses me off. It's like, it's not even yours. You have no right to it.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's like I'm going to like deeper dives on this and everything, and actually like writing on it. So I'm like, there's a reason. It's like I'll let you know more in the future while I'm working on.
No, I appreciate that. That was very insightful. That was very insightful. That DMV analogy was very accurate. I like that.
Yep, mate.
Cool. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah. Anybody else? I'm gonna leave it open for about, I think, until we hit about 8:20. If anybody else want to come up and share anything, I have the links tagged in there. And, you know, as you saw, it's just us just talking about things that you're studying and going deeper into those things, and then going, you know, giving a expanded views, because a lot of times, you know, we are taught in America that you have to come up and find, you know, especially the way religion taught us. Everybody want to be deep Everybody want to be the one that, I brought this great knowledge forward, and look at what I did, and look at what this person did, and this person brought this for all that nonsense. We work together. It is coming together because having conversations with other folks that are iron sharpens iron. When you talk to other folks that's in their word and you in their word, there's things that I've learned from folks that have come up here just now and either other folks and stuff that I'm like, that's interesting. And it's added to my own understanding. And things that I've said is added to their understanding. It's like a circle. That's what it is. It's a feedback. It's again, the iron sharpens iron. I'm feeding into you, you feed into me, and it is a feedback. It is a circle. No one person has it all. We are a community. Only when we come together can we get greater understanding. This is why you would have the different priests and the different scribes. They would sit down and they would debate the word, not debate, but they would discuss the word. They didn't debate. They did what we were doing. We were having a discussion. It's not a debate. It's about, you're just wrong. And all that goofy, stupid nonsense that these dumb niggas be doing when they try to come with all this nonsense. So it's about us coming together and doing this thing all together. How you doing?
Hey, how we doing, bro?
Doing well.
Hey, man, I can't get as deep as y'all was, but I just got a question for you.
Hey, it ain't even about that, bro. It ain't even about that.
Listen, I was swimming, man. But I'm trying to hang on in there. Listen now. Okay, so I was on Karis's channel a few weeks ago. That's probably about a month ago, maybe even a little longer. But my question is about Matthew 24, right? Mm-hmm. So 29 and 30 to be specific. I don't have my scripture in front of me, but I'm gonna try to keep it together. So it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, right? And the stars shall fall from heaven. So I'm paraphrasing that part. So we get to 30 and it says, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. So, can't think of his name. Deep voice brother. Okay, but anyway, so because I'm drawing a blank. I really don't do this much, but I couldn't catch Jacoba, so I'm asking you because I know you're on the same level. So you see my icon is about the last three eclipses, and we see the olive tau sign. Mm-hmm. And so it says immediately after that, the sign of the Son of Man shall be in heaven, and all of the tribes of the earth shall mourn. So from 2024, was it 4/18/2024 is the 2-year anniversary. We see all these things starting to really just get ramped up as far as the war that's going on over there in the Mediterranean area, or the Middle East, what we want to call it. And we're all kind of suffering. All nations are kind of suffering for it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then it goes on to, after that, the trumpet will be sounded to gather his elect. How close, or am I reading too much into it? That was my question to Karis. Am I reading too much into those scriptures to think that we should be right at the door? Because it goes on to speak about that.
Right at the door of what?
Of going home. Of going to the wilderness, which is talking about in Revelation 12.
Yes. Yeah, no, that is absolutely accurate. We are definitely on the cusp. What you have in your symbol is actually just that. It's not this sign in particular, because mm-hmm. there's a certain things, there's a certain order of operations that has to happen before the Messiah returns. By the time the Messiah returns, and this is more so what this one is going on, when he returns and he's going to come back and actually just like take over and rule, that is going to be after we have been in our place, because that is triggered by them trying to come and take us back into slavery. This is one that was talking about also is this gathering together that's going to come as well. But we're really close to that. Like it's when you look at the signs of the times and you look at the different things that's going on, and then when you get the true revelation of the time, because remember they change times and seasons and stuff. So our 2020 and 2024 is not y'all's 2020 and 2024. The closest thing that we have is the Ethiopian Bible. And according to the Ethiopian calendar. And according to the Ethiopian calendar, 2020 is actually going to be this year. Like that 2019, which is going to be that mark of the 400 years. I'm sorry, 2019, I meant to say. That's going to be actually this year in September. So we have been, the timeline that they have is going crazy, but the signs are still coming and showing that this is what's going to happen. the eclipses that happened. And again, these eclipses were only visible in America.
Right. Right.
That the moon only crossed over America in both of those eclipses. That's unheard of. Like that's America only eclipse. Unless I just don't pay attention to eclipse, I've never really heard of an America only eclipse in all my 40 some odd years of life.
Right. And so what really just that's kind of when I woke up during the 2017, 2016 era, when that Revelation 12:1 sign was being, up in the sky, as far as Jupiter doing the retrograde motion up into Venus or Virgo's womb. So that's kind of when I start waking up and just asking questions and just trying to figure it out, And so when I see the Revelation 12 sign, which we did in the heavens,
and oh, your phone sounded like it was ringing and it cut your mic off.
You still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. You good?
She got to get off of work and she ain't gonna stop calling. But hey, man, I appreciate you. Look, the devil won't let me work today. Listen, hey, but I love your channel, man. I get on as much as I can, watch as much as I can, man. And I love you a lot, man. You just keep doing your thing, and I got to go get this girl from work. So
I appreciate you, brother. Hey, but just know what you're seeing is correct. Those signs are there, and it's gonna happen real soon.
All right, thank you so much, sir.
No problem, man. You have a good one. That was a blessing. That's true. I mean, what we're seeing right now is a lot of the sign, basically the sign of the Most High coming back to restore us back into who we are. And we already see the nations getting judged. I mean, I did the thing, what was it, last week, when we talked about how the island land is raising up and expanding out and how they got all kinds of hurt. There's been still, even since then, there's been more and more not hurricanes, these like storms and these freak tornadoes in America that come up out of nowhere. And there's been more flooding in China. There's been more, I think there was another like tsunami warning because there was another earthquake. I think there was another one on the East Coast, and then there was one, I want to say somewhere over in one of them Asian countries. It's not the Philippines, but somewhere in that area. So it's still, the Most High still smacking. He's still shaking the table right now. It's just whether people are paying attention or not is the key goal here. That's how that works. But one thing I did want to bring up is that, that order of operations. I see a lot of Hebrews thinking that, we're finna go and, the Messiah's finna come back and, angels are gonna come and just pick everybody up and like all that kind of stuff. At that point, I'm like, we're not there yet. We got to read the whole order in Revelations. There has to be the judgment of Babylon first, and then the wilderness, and then us being restored. And then after we've been restored, when you got the two kingdoms, the 10 toes kingdom on the one side that's partly strong, partly weak, and they're like, all right, we tired of this partly weak. We got to get all the way strong. What's making us weak? These Hebrews over here in this big landmass with all these resources that we need and want. So we finna go and put these niggas back in slavery again, and this time they ain't gonna come out. And that's when the Messiah is like, all right, I'm tired of you niggas. It's time up. We finna come back. Blood to the bridal time. That's when the blood to the bridal time is coming, and we're gonna start seeing folks coming up out of the rising up out again. It's gonna be kind of like similar to when the Messiah came. When the Messiah rose from the grave, there was also a bunch of saints that rose up and started walking the city and talking with their descendants again during that time. It was a crazy time when the Messiah rose up. I recommend y'all read that. It was a lot of we literally had what folks would call zombies, except they weren't dead; they were alive. Walking around. So if anybody else is not coming up, I'll give a few minutes here, and then at that point I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I did enjoy speaking with y'all and stuff, and I'll do this again. We really, like I said, it's about applying knowledge. That's really what it's all about. It's not about one person being the arbiter of all things. It's about teaching folks so that you know how to read the Bible for yourself. Everybody should know how to read the Bible for themselves. We all should be priests, and then, as far as men, priests in your own home. And even as a woman, you should be the arbiter of the glory in your house. You should be the one teaching your children about the Most High. Like I can say, my foundation was given to me by my mother. She taught me the ways of the Most High. That's where my foundation came from a young age. So start your children off young. Teach them. I don't care if they 5, 6, 7 years old. Start teaching them. When you teach them how to read, teach them how to read the Bible. That's what I was doing. We were learning how to read the Bible and read scriptures and stuff. My mom was so happy when 6-year-old me or 7-year-old me knew how to write scriptures out in the proper notation and stuff like that. Like, these type of things. Teach your children these things. I am a living witness. I am 42 years old. And all of these lessons that I have learned, the foundation that I have came from parents that put the foundation of Yah inside of me. So don't neglect teaching your children the word, teaching and learning the word. As you learn the word, teach the word to your children. That's what my mom used to do. She used to be driving us to school and she would be giving us the word while she's driving to school. She's like, oh, this is what I've been reading in the Bible, and boom, 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 and boom, 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 just telling us all these different scriptures and stuff that she was reading. And this stuff started sitting in my spirit. A lot of the things that are in my spirit, I know because I was taught from a young age. And so these things were cemented in my soul because I heard them all the time as a young child. So if you have your young kids, invest in them into the word. Have them read the word. Yeah, they may act stupid and act raggedy, but trust me, I am a living witness. If you're going through anything with your kids, if you put that word in them, just rest assured that your work that you put in and those prayers that you put towards your children do avail much. I am proof standing before you right now. Don't feel no type of way about your kids, because as you, as their parent, praise for them and have poured into them and given them the word, the Most High is a Yah of his word, and he will bring everything to pass. Again, I stand here as a living witness. the atmosphere of the Bible and studiousness that was set by my father and my mother is what has sustained me to this day and kept me out of nonsense. I ain't saying I'm perfect. I did a lot of stupid, dumb crap, but I didn't go all the way. I didn't go full. I didn't go full retard, as your boy said in the movie. You never go full retard. I never went full retard. That was what you dudes say. Don't go full retard. Don't never go full retard. That's what it is. That word to keep you. So with that, I appreciate everybody that came up and stuff. I'll see y'all in 2 weeks, and then we'll be back again. Y'all have a blessed night.
Okay, come on, we gotta get this one. Hold on. Cool. The situation's sticky. Houdini and get tricky. I hope God really forgive me. I pray Jesus come and get me. I pray the ones that say they're really with me and really with me. And if they not, I pray whatever they do it quickly. Like Jay Garrett, Barry Allen, Wally West. If this the way it is, just know I always gave my best. I tried to make an A, but my tango E, that's my flesh. I could go on and on and on, but I digress. All I know is I've been seeing songs, so I really can't complain. How you gonna start to grow it, then get mad when it rains? That's why I keep the same vibe, even when I'm in a wreck. Long as I keep waking up, long as I keep waking up. I finally realized I'm not lonely, I'm just members only. I'm real selective of who I vibe with and who I call my homies. I'm not impressed with love and life is sweet, Zach and Cody. I'm way more impressed with a hater who's not scared to show me. Good head on his shoulders, he in school, he got some sense. But he way too impatient, tired of waiting, he wanna be rich. But brother think the answer is a blick or something he can flip. Don't even have a lawyer's line saved, little brother didn't read the script. I'm trying to lead by example, I'm trying to redefine the answers. Babies being raised by babies, prices going up on Pampers. Food they feed is full of cancer. Outside is real Jurassic. The weather's cloudy, but I got a million chances. All I know is I've been seeing songs, so I really can't complain. How you gonna ask God to grow it, then get mad when it rains? That's why I keep the same vibe, even when I'm in a wreck. Long as I keep waking up, long as I keep waking up.